Hello again, everyone, and welcome to Memorial Stadium for tonight's week number 1 of the young first game, right? Big Reds football season. Derek Work, the Big D, CPHS Channel 6, my 15th year. Man, when you say it like that, huh? Kind of scary. No gray hairs just yet. I checked earlier. That's how scary it is. Anyway, for the Big Reds tonight, they welcome in a Sterling Heights team that has not won in 11 games. I'm just saying that, man. 0-11 in their last 11. But my big key to this whole game, really, don't believe the 0-11 hype. You've got to treat this game like it's just like any other game. Tough competition, tough Mac Blue competition, and Sterling Heights comes in a much improved football team from last year. How can you not be at 0-11, right? Well, for the Big Reds, Justin Black transferred. He's, I guess he moved down to Florida. I didn't get all the information on this. Apparently, he transferred, in my mind, to help his recruiting status. But what does that mean? Enter Mark Chapman. And if you ever want to remember something the Big D has said, remember this. Never doubt a Chapman. Mark Chapman last week, 200-plus rushing yards, threw for 84, 3 rushing touchdowns. Man, he is off to a great start, and so is this Big Red offense and the offensive line blocking for him up front. So here we go. Sterling Heights, not much success in the past, but the Big Reds can't take them for granted. And your Port Huron High Big Reds. It's football season. Are you ready, Port Huron? Indeed. Let's get nasty. Big D from Memorial Stadium, week 1 of the football season. Joined now right at kickoff. And again, let's get nasty. Port Huron off the kick. The season has officially begun right through the legs. I think he touched it too. They've got to be careful down there at the 2. Taken quickly 5. Tries to cut up field as Winslow. Chapman gets to the outside. He's got a lot of wheels. Look out. Up 10, 15. To the outside 20, 25. Still on his feet 30. Cuts back upfield. He did not go out of bounds. Eventually tripped up 42. That's what I'm talking about. Never, ever doubt a Chapman. Winslow. Well, there's just something about this time of year, and I can't explain it completely. I was thinking about this earlier, and if you ask the average kid what their favorite time of year is, they'd say probably Christmas. If you ask the Big D, though, it could just be this time of year. Is it the fact that, the season changes, the weather changes, leaves on the trees? No way, Jose. It's because it's football season. There's just something in the air, baby. That's just the way it is. Derek Work, the Big D, again, CPHS Channel 6, Port Huron Area School District television station. Back to pass, Mark Chapman going to the air immediately. Over the middle, caught, brought down, or touched at least, at the 42 of Sterling Heights. That's a heck of a start for a man who passed for just 84 yards last week, Mark Chapman. But man, he was shaking and baking and juking and jiving all over the field last week against Warren Cuzno. So one thing about Chapman, he can really run the football. We know that. Can he pass? Well, we're going to learn that as this game goes along, and the way it just started on play 1, that's evident. Sterling Heights showing blitz. Roll out, airing it out deep. Smolik caught down at the 5. Well, how is that for a start? And this is a player that has been there a while now. Alex Smolik, the senior, number 17. He is very versatile. You've got to watch him. And they had pretty good coverage. Kind of had to wait for the pass, but he caught it. Smolik, a big guy, too. We'll get to that in a little bit here. So I think he's something like 6'5" and 230. I've got it written down somewhere. That's what it's about, though. Throwing early. Showing Sterling Heights that, hey, we're not just a running team, despite that's what we did last week to get warmed up, to get into the groove. So Chapman certainly has come out like gangbusters. Play fake, straight up the middle, spin move, gets inside the 5 to the 2. No, they're calling touchdown. He must have just got in the end zone. How's that, folks? For an opening drive, Port Huron on the board already. Well, there's no doubt in my mind, and Coach Mullins, every single year, just a great coach, and the way that he brings in the talent continually, when he loses players to graduation. Or in the case of Black, he transferred. I believe, like I said earlier, it was to help his recruiting value. I think he moved to Florida. Extra point, try to tack on maybe a 7th point here. It's up and splits the uprights. Yes, sir. So that's the start they definitely wanted. Brandon Hunton, the extra point. So with 11:04 left to go in the first quarter, 7-0 Big Reds. 3 plays, you gotta love it. Derek Wark, the Big D, CPHS Channel 6. Beautiful Memorial Stadium, never gets old. And I understand they're going to redo these press boxes in the next couple of years. That'll really be something. And it's not like I have a problem with the press boxes. You know, it's great up here. It really is. But the fact they're going to redo them, that's kind of cool. It was always nice to have my own booth, that's for sure. But and thanks down to the people in the bus Channel 6, despite the fact that I've got nothing on the screen up here. You know, technology supreme, because they brought me a fan, you know, and it is hot up here, I gotta admit. Sun blaring down on the Big D, and but they gave me a fan, my only fan. How's that? Anyway, 7-0. You gotta like how they came out. Mark Chapman, shotgun look. Came out with the idea to throw. Middle pattern, hits Moloch on the fly, and then a simple run. Chapman up the middle, spin move, and he got in. 7-0 just like that, and that's a great start, it really is. It's a team that offensively you really never worry about. Defensively, question marks some years, maybe not this year. They've got 8 starters returning on defense. We'll talk about that as it goes. They haven't given me much time to talk about them because 3 plays and they got 7 on the board. Kickoff return, fumbled, caught his own fumble and brought down hard after that. That's something that, if you're Sterling Heights, you do not want after the Big Reds just had their way with you, going right down the field in 3 plays. Jacob Nishaw on the return for Sterling Heights Stallions. They lost last week to Utica 14-6. Now 0-1. Keep in mind, though, as I mentioned, 0-9 last season, 0-11 their last 11 football games. So they're not exactly what you'd call a winning program coming into this one, but they've got another year under this QB here, Joshua Hines. We're going to talk about him in just a moment. He starts from shotgun with a 4-wide look, 1 back set. Buried immediately. Couldn't even get back to the line of scrimmage. That's great. Penetration by the Big Reds. Name one, a whole horde of tacklers. 55 among them, Ali Fayad. All told, yeah, Sterling Heights, they've lost 11 football games they've played in a row. Their strength this year is said to be senior leadership, and Coach Brent Widows loves that. Last year, a little bit underage, if you want to call it that, but they enter this year with a spread offense behind number 3, quarterback Joshua Hines, listed as a strong dual QB threat for them, just like Mark Chapman is. This play blown dead immediately on 2nd down. Last season, really on-the-job training for Hines. They're high on him because they now believe that he's very comfortable in the shotgun formations. And as we just saw with Chapman on the other side. Big Reds offside on that one. Attack on 5, replay 2nd down. The blocking up front led by center and co-captain Brian Cashola, number 52, tackle Kenny Perry, 66, and also guard 72, Delonte Sullivan. They say he'll be a big key to this offense for Sterling Heights this season. Main wideouts, Dante Oliver, number 9, top corner on defense as well. This to the right, met hard, taken down hard. 56s, I don't think so. Malik Edwards. That's what you do. You get the good penetration and you make sure of the tackle. If you have to wrap him by the jersey, just drag him down because you know you're going to get help. You slow down momentum, you get help on the tackle. But he basically got him there alone. 55, nice job. Fayad, the senior, 6'1", 210. Another good one, 23, Deontay Dixon. Another wideout on this team besides the aforementioned Oliver. And the Big Red defense we'll talk about in just a minute. QB keeper outside. They get there pretty quickly and not much. 4. Great speed, Montez Jackson. And Smolik, who runs well for a big guy, over there as well. Well, they've got a lot of talent. There's no doubt about it. Port Huron Times-Herald agrees with that statement. Number 1 rated team in the MAC Blue by the Times-Herald. Detroit Free Press and Detroit News thinks Grosse Pointe South may have something to say about that, but we'll see. That game coming up later on this season. But that's the main challenge, they think, for PH this season. Big Reds and Grosse Pointe South. Here's a bad snap on the punt try, and they're just going to take the safety. So you can tack on 2 more. Sterling Heights sloppy play. It is now 9-0 Big Reds with just 8:54 remaining. First quarter. And now Sterling Heights going to have to punt back to the Big Reds. Looking good so far for the Big Red faithful here at Memorial Stadium. 9-0. Again, Derek Wark, the Big D, happy to be back in the captain's chair again. Year 15, and I said it earlier, I mean, I had to look in the mirror because you know what? And I don't like looking in the mirror. But I had to see if I had gray hair because it's been 15 years in this booth. And eventually, I would think it's a foregone conclusion I'd have gray hair. The guys in the truck, not so lucky. But you know what? Me, so far so good in that area. But we're getting old. No doubt about it. Year 15. Never thought I'd be saying that when it was back in year 3 in the late 90s. But Ed Sinek made that possible. Big hello, shout out to him and EJ down there tonight, running things again. EJ said he might have Notre Dame tickets for me. Are you nuts? Holy smokes, that's craziness. That made the Big D's world tonight. Besides this 9-0 score, the Big Reds, and really I have 4 teams now in football. Lions, Wolverines, Big Reds, and Huskies. So I love every minute of this. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, she's all football in the Big D's world. Off the safety from the 35, taking 40, now up 45. Look out, Winslow Chapman. You talk about some serious moves. Winslow, and I don't even know if we're doing replay tonight because I have no screen up here right now. It's got no signal, but number 3, Winslow Chapman, I'll tell you something. If there was a replay to this guy and what he just did, you'll notice that the feet keep moving. That's key. They say to do that because if your feet are moving, it's a nightmare to bring you down. Especially if you're going for the tackle at the feet, and the feet just dance. And he has demonstrated on 2 kickoffs there. Of course, coming off the safety, that second one. But he's demonstrated on 2 of them in a row. You just move your feet. Great things are bound to happen. And boy, 2 great run backs. Winslow Chapman from the 40. Big Reds operate. Chapman in shotgun. His family member. 1st and 10 from the 40. Mark Chapman airing it out over the middle. Caught again. Downed again. First down. Big Reds. Caught number 8. Tyler Robotham. And 5 the tackle. Chris Christian for Sterling Heights. That's too easy, and they've had that twice. Just a simple crossing pattern, even a curl over the middle. And the key there is Robotham is in front of the defender. You cannot defend that play if you don't not have help on the inside. And he didn't. And if I'm the Big Reds, I hit that all day till it's not there. Because it's obvious they're not adjusting to it after play 2. And it could have wrecked them in the early going. Well, it did, right? Chapman. Strong deke move. Downed. Got maybe 3. Well, he got more than that by the looks of things. Half the distance. Got 5. Second down and 5. Again, the Port Huron High Big Reds, 1-0 this year. They beat Warren Kuzno last week. And really a game that became the Mark Chapman show. Here it is, 12 for 207 on the ground. Over 17 yards a carry, 3 rushing TDs, 1 for 65, 159, and 1 for 8. Now that's a quarterback rushing game there, folks. Chapman, no pass rush. Rollout outside, avoids 2 tackles, spin move. Past the sticks, first down, Big Reds. Well, he's got some serious skills. Never doubted Chapman. And there you see why. And Jared Chapman obviously graduated and a great, great player in his own right. He was a human highlight film last year for this team. Enter Mark at the QB helm, and so far he looks like a star, as does Winslow. So, man, there's a lot of these Chapmans, but every single one of them is good. And wow, what a plus these guys have been for the Big Reds over the years, haven't they? From the 10, 1st and goal. Not much of a pass rush. Over the middle and broken up this time off the hands. Can't quite get the number, but deflected off, I believe, a linebacker for Sterling Heights, 52, Brian Kashola, who I mentioned a while ago, I think, as a defensive lineman. 5-5 overall last year, your Port Huron High Big Reds. First round playoff loss to De La Salle. And really a tough matchup, but they were only 5-4. But again, in my opinion, they deserved the playoff berth last year because they played a tough schedule. And wow, what a tough round. First round action. They got eliminated early, but 5-5, an accomplishment for the schedule they had. This is Winslow. Stops, starts, gets downed after a gain of about, 3 maybe. Brings up 3rd down. Again, Times Herald picking the Big Reds to win the MAC Blue. Grosse Pointe South being picked by the Detroit Papers. As far as division goes, of course, the Big Reds last season, 3-2 in the Mac Blue. Getting last-minute instructions, both Chapmans. Of course, Mark Chapman quarterbacking. Winslow Chapman directly behind him, the tailback. Brings up 3rd and goal from the 6. Play fake. Chapman looking for a lane. Mark down inside the 5 to, I believe, the 4. And that'll bring up 4th down. Are they going to go for it or going to try a field goal here? Can't quite be too sure here. 9-0. There's a number of things you can really try to do here. 4 starters again return on this offensive unit for the Big Reds. That's it, but they're key starters, and that's the biggest single thing about it. But listen to this. They've got a whopping 8 of 11 players returning on defense. Either way, predicted to be very successful. Definite testament to the coach, Ryan Mullins. Again, excellent offense by the looks of things. And Smolik and Chapman, keep in mind, already signed with Division 1 for next year. Roll out, wide open, caught, Robotham, touchdown, Big Reds. That's too easy. And you know what? Every catch Tyler Robotham has thus far, he's open. And I'm not sure the height and the weight of Robotham like I am with Smolik, because I read it, but he's a big kid. And you cannot leave a big guy that fast wide open. You can't leave anybody open like that, but Robotham in particular. Goodness, and he's wide open on those crossing patterns over the middle. 3 times now. If Sterling Heights does not adjust to that, I'd continue to do it all day. This is offside. Extra point would be good, but they're offside. Jump from first, so they'll re-kick this one. Is this producer-director Ed Sinek up here in the booth? Fixing something here. Screen's off, Ed. Work your magic, man. Work your magic for the big D. You're just lucky the cameraman's not in the booth. But yeah, quite a thrill for Alex Smolik and I believe Winslow Chapman. Although it could be Mark, already signed for D1. I think it's Winslow because Mark's got another year left. For Division 1 football next year, must be a good feeling for them to know they're going to play on Saturday afternoons. And I don't say that thinking that just anybody can do it. Extra point this time, pushing them back a ways, but not before it's up and it's good. Huntoon, Brandon Huntoon, number 15, kicked her through. 5:40 to go in the first, 16-0. Big Reds hammer in Sterling Heights. Derek Work, the Big D, CPHS, Channel 6. I have a TV again. Thanks, Ed. Great. You gotta love it, man. Beginning of football, actually week 2, of course they played last week in Warren Cuzno, the Big Reds did. Just a great time of year, but very, very hot in this booth. I'm waiting for that sun to go down. Here's the replay here, by the way. Great presence of mind there by Mark Chapman because he's on the rollout, and you notice how he waited till the very last second. When a quarterback does that, he knows he's going to get hit, but he'll take the hit to make the reception. And he did there. And he got decked, but so what? You know it's coming. It's not like it was from the blind side. So the Big Reds are going to come out and they're going to be on defense. Every time they're on offense, I can't talk about them because they're scoring too quickly. But their defensive unit is coming out. Again, 5:40 left in the first and 16-0. Goodness gracious. You kind of get the hint they're going to keep at it too. They're going to pile it on here tonight. Bit of a squib kick here on the kickoff, trying to fool Sterling Heights. They touch it. Big Reds land on it. Big Red football. And can anything go Sterling Heights' way right now? My goodness. Well, maybe they just did. Maybe I spoke too soon because Sterling Heights there jumped on the football. They got it back, and I don't know how. Clearly a Big Red player jumped on that ball, but funny, right when I say that, right when I think when it rains, it pours on Sterling Heights, they get it back. Here's the bounce, and these are up linemen, so they're not used to this. And bobbling the football, and I do not know how that landed in the hands of that Sterling Heights player, but it did. And as you can see the replay, clearly he did get it back. So defensively, Big Red, strength of this defense, maybe the whole team, they say, is the defensive line due to the experience on it. We'll talk about that in a moment. End around run. Nothing. Gobbled up. And every running attempt by Sterling Heights thus far has been ate up alive by the Big Red D. Deontay Dixon, the carry for Sterling Heights. Led up front, defensive tackle Alan Rapson. Led also by outside linebacker number 17, Alex Smolik. Big guy, aggressive. Offensively and defensively, a senior you love to have. Secondary, led by safety number 3, Winslow Chapman, and also number 4, Montez Jackson, a real nice corner, and he'll come up and he'll give you a pop the odd time too. Gets a late hole, goes through it, battles forward, almost a first down, going to be very close to the sticks. Nice little effort there by Derek Waters, and the second effort might just have gotten a first down or close to it. Now they're going to say third down and about a yard. Ball will be marked, looks like the 36-yard line. And it will be 3rd and 1. Same end around type of play. Big Reds jump on it quickly, and they don't even think they got anything. It's going to be 4th down. That's a great job. A whole horde of Big Red tacklers got him. You can almost name one there. Outstanding jump at the line they're getting here. They're getting past the Sterling Heights offensive line right now. And I just said it, you know, Coach Mullins loves the defensive line look for the Big Reds this year, and, well, right there, evidence of why. They're flat out doing the job. Sterling Heights has had nothing so far. Not only have they had nothing go for them, but very little yardage. As the sun starts to go down here at Memorial Stadium, hot, muggy day. Another bad snap on the punt. They down the punter. Oh, 56 knocks him silly. Malik Edwards. And that has got to be frustrating for Coach Brent Widows across the field, because this is something that you practice and practice and practice and practice, are these long snaps. There you go, Malik. Great play, man. Great play. 56. And you don't think a guy like that has eyeballs that are just go huge when they see a punter bobbling a snap, and you're right there to deck him? I tell you, Malik saw that and he loved it. Here it is again. Well, they've got to fix this long snapping issue here. It's going to be a long, long night for Sterling Heights. Like, that's just too low. You've got to get that up, at least at his helmet. Look at that pop by 56. That's going to make him happy. Play fake. Quarterback rollout. Airing it out deep. Roll with them. Too far. So Robotham, I guess is how you pronounce it. There you go. Big D can't get every name perfect. Only 20% of them. So there you go. Tyler Robotham. That one's for you. Great job. He already has a touchdown. Trying to get another one. Chapman has looked good so far, just as he did last week. And they really have something here. Justin Black, not the easiest guy to replace, but they might have done it. Shotgun look again. Instead, the immediate handoff to Montez Jackson. Might have got a half a yard, if that. And it brings up 3rd down. Well, they say the Sterling Heights defense, their defensive strength, their secondary, strong defensive backs, and apparently they prefer man-to-man instead of zone. That can eat you alive when you got big wideouts like Smolik and also Robotham, but certainly they want to stack the box and stop this number 5, Mark Chapman, who had a great week last week, let's face it. We'll talk more about it. Bobbled snap, great job recovery. Rollout pass, deep end zone, that's going to be overthrown. Intended receiver Anthony Dobson of the Big Reds. And it's going to be 4th down. Well, too far for a field goal, I would think. Ball mark 25, that'd be a 42-yarder. I guess it would depend on how strong 15's leg is. Brandon Huntoon. Are they going to let him try it, or? I think they're gonna. Are you kidding me? This is a long field goal attempt for a kid this age. This is a 42-yarder, folks. The holder is 5, the quarterback, Mark Chapman. Huntoon from 42. Now you see how strong these guys' legs are. It's up. It is off the bottom part of the upright. He almost had the distance. I tell you, 16-0. You don't mind watching something like that go down. You may not attempt that at 0-0 or 3-0, but he almost had it. And you know what? That's just bad luck, because half the time when it hits that bottom part of the upright, the nose of the football may just go off it the other way and through. Barely it died. Look at that. He'd love to have that one back, but you don't mind when it's 16-0. Great try, Hunter. You almost had it, man. Brandon Huntoon. And he's got a leg by the looks of things, doesn't he? Winslow Chapman picked it up. Turnover on downs. Well, he just jumps on it, number 3. And if it's not one Chapman doing it, it's the other one. Never doubt a Chapman, folks. And I didn't even need this season to tell you that. We knew from last year, right? Jarrett, I mean, what a player he was, number 6. Not a kind of guy you just forget. But seeing the rest of his family do the same kind of things out here on the football field, this is outstanding. It is really fun to watch these guys, and they are good. From the 20, 1st and 10. Chapman shotgun again, immediate give. Jackson got a hole this time, closes quick to the right, and down quick to the right. Got 3, maybe 4. 5 among tacklers, Sterling Heights, Christian again. Well, again, we talked a bit earlier about Mark Chapman in his monster game last week. 12 for 27 rushing. 207, that is, on the ground. Just over, again, 17 yards a carry. But these runs here, 65, 59, and 8. I mean, when the QB's busting out runs like that, you can tell the kind of job the offensive line's doing for starters. Straight up, straight down, Therese Watkins got the carry left side this time. Not quite. 3rd and about 3 by the looks of things. Right behind left guard. In the game last week, apparently, Port Huron, with much of the consideration towards Mark Chapman in his monster 207 game, they outrushed Warren Kuzno 260 to 172. So 260 rushing yards. That's a great first week of high school football for the Big Reds. Couple of other really big plays in last week's game. Winslow Chapman had a 51-yard touchdown run early in the 3rd, but also they were saying that game was tied at 19 in the 4th, and Tyler Robatham, big interception in that one too. Play fake, Mark Chapman, 5, end zone, touchdown, Big Reds. Well, that was just too easy. You're to the outside right, and you know darn well a player that quick is going to beat the defense because they're not around him. You either run on an angle to contain him or he gets by you, but you're out of room, right? You're only operating with 5 yards to go before the end zone. In for 6 more, Mark Chapman. Welcome to the Chapman Show, folks. Extra point try placed down by Mark Chapman. Up and in, no problem. Brandon Huntoon, 23-0. There you see the score. Big Reds on top. Visiting Sterling Heights. There you see, right off the fake, and there's nobody there. Half the team bought that. And all you can do in that situation, when you have a speedster and you're out there one-on-one, again, you run on an angle and hope he doesn't cut the ball upfield. But again, you're out of room in that situation, so there really isn't much you can do. But up the middle, they were playing that run. Again, Derek Work, the Big D. This is the Port Huron Area School District television station, CPHS Channel 6. Great to be back. Here we are. Normally I say week 1, which I did at the beginning of the broadcast. It's actually week 2, week 1 for us here at CPHS. Happy to be bringing it to you yet again. Year after year, it never gets old. And I thought, all these years, I've never had a coffee here. So I thought earlier I'd go down and just see if they take Canadian money. They did. They thought it was Monopoly money. I had to explain to them it was a toonie. And they said, well, is that a loonie? I said, no, it's a toonie. So they gave me $1 change, and it was a US dollar. So I was happy about that. But the coffee was good, so I'm going to have to remember that. And you folks do that too down there, the concession people. They do a great job here at Memorial Stadium. And tell them Big D liked the coffee. There you go. They didn't really know who I was, and they weren't real thrilled about getting a Canadian toonie, $2, but coffee was good anyway. Back to this one, 23-0 Big Reds. Kickoff by 15, Brandon Huntoon. For you, Doug Hannon, let's get nasty, Port Huron. The kickoff. Bounces at the 26, taking on the bounce, and he's just going to get decked. I'm not sure if they're doing this on purpose or not. It sure looks like they are, these squib kick kind of kickoffs. 24-yard line on the return, 23, Deontay Dixon. And he gets that off the bounce. He knows he's going to get leveled. That's all there is to it. So he just took the hit and went down. But because it's not an end-to-end kick, and he's taking it off the bounce, that even the spin off the bounce where he's catching it, that gives the Big Reds time to go deck him. 51 seconds to go, first quarter. I'm not reading that wrong. 23-0 Big Reds. They look good so far. Shotgun look. One back. Up and down. Alex Smolik. And believe me if you don't already, you will hear me say the name Alex Smolik a lot this year. 17, 6'4", 200. They actually list him in what I read as 6'5", 225. So there you go. He's a big, big guy, and he's strong offensively, too. Shotgun, looking out right side. That one's bobbled and caught the interception. Anthony Edwards, good speed on the run back to the 10. Hit hard out of bounds at the 4. Well, first and foremost, credit to the defensive line of the Big Reds that, as mentioned, is highly touted this year because they deflected this ball right out of the hands of Joshua Hines immediately. Here you see it. Who got the hand up there? Jumped at just the right time. Anthony Edwards right in his hands. And then look at this. Look at the presence of mind by Alex Smolik to go level that guy on the block. Great blocking, Alex Smolik, on that play. Kids watching that at home, that's telltale. Just because you're not the one making that interception, you go lay somebody out like 17 just did. You go lay a block out. There you go. That's picture perfect. Final 13 seconds, first quarter, 23-0. They're going to run probably one play, and that'll be it. Shotgun look. 3 wide set, I formation as well. Hit hard, brought down. 21, King Thomason. The royalty name, King Thomason. Derek Waters, number 7, the tackle. That's going to do it for the first quarter here from Memorial Stadium, where after one complete, Big Reds are all over Sterling Heights, who really have got to get their long snapping on special teams right, or it's going to be a long, long night. Derek Work, the Big D, CPHS Channel 6, but not a long night for the Big Reds, folks. They're up 23 after 1. From Memorial Stadium, back in a moment. CPHS. Second quarter action upon us from Memorial Stadium. Once again, Big D, Derek Work. I like it when you call me Big D because being big is a state of mind. great to be at Memorial Stadium yet again for year number 15, and great to do it for Ed Sinek, EJ Shea, and the whole cast of CPHS Channel 6, the Port Huron Area School District television station. Well, the Big Reds really, they just keep this monster rolling along here. Continuing to do what they did last week, 23-0 here tonight. Great win last week as well over a Warren Kuzno team that really gave them a fight for, 3.5 quarters. 26-19 the final last week. Big win to start things off, and Sterling Heights again. Two fairly decent programs they're going to beat, and by the looks of things go 2-0 if it continues to be like it's looking right now. 23-0, the Big Goose Egg. They're looking to tack on a quick 30 here. And when I say a quick 30, it has been. There it is, easy does it, touchdown, 21, King Thomason. Almost untouched. Is this ever a quick 30 points? Goodness, they came out on drive 1 in the first quarter, and they were up 7 in 3 plays. Next thing you know, they're up 9 on a safety. 16, 23, and now 30, nothing. Well, they're going to try the extra point here, but the way that's number 15, Brandon Huntoon's been kicking so far, I would put nothing past him. If you're wondering, he missed a 42-yarder in the first quarter that hit the bottom of the uprights, really should have gone in. He was maybe 1 inch from it going in. Maybe 2, but because when you hit the bottom of the uprights, that kick in, by the way, 30-0 now. 11:57 to go in the second. When you hit the bottom of the uprights, though, a lot of times, usually just the forward motion spin of the ball will get it over. There you see King Thomason, not even really touched. And that's one problem for a defense in that situation. I mean, you're not only going against the Big Reds, you're going against the field position. 2 yards, that's it. No problem. He's in. Touchdown. 21. King Thomason getting some high fives down there on the bench. Well, I mentioned earlier Sterling Heights, and they haven't really been a successful program. The past 11 football games, they've lost. But in truth, they really haven't had a lot of luck. If you take 2009, for instance, as there you see some youngsters. You take 2009, they went 4-5 on the year, but outscored opponents that year 211 to 159. If you're outscoring opponents by that much, basically translated, that just says you had a few really bad games. But if you outscore opponents by what, 52? I mean, I'm no mathematician, I have to add this up. 52. There's no way you should be 4-5. Let's get nasty, Port Huron. Here's the kickoff again, and they absolutely boot this one. It's going to go in the end zone for a touchback. Off the hands, actually, of 5, Chris Christian. This is an issue for Sterling Heights. Not just the long snapping, which led to 2 turnovers, let's face it, in that first quarter. Big Reds jumped on them both, but the fact of the matter is, it's not just long snapping. I mean, the kick returning has been an issue as well. And every time they drop that ball, it costs them probably about 15, 20 yards in the kick return at least. So this is a problem they've got to correct. They're down 30 in this one, so it's going to be tough to do that here, but in future weeks, they know what they've got to work on in practice at least. Get that snapping down to an art. That is why you practice it in practice. It's why you shoot free throws in basketball. It's why you take batting practice in baseball. The fundamental aspects of football have to be done correctly. Quick out, not much. Brought down by 17, Alex Zmolik after a gain of 1. And you know what? If you're up 30, you give them that all day long. But they've got to get Joshua Hines going here with a little bit of confidence, a little bit of progress, because he hasn't had much of it thus far, and the Big Red D looks really, really strong. They were saying that the D is a question mark this year. QB keeper Hines getting some confidence on this one. Got about 20 in a first. Close to 20 anyway. But a bit of a question mark coming in was the Big Reds' defense, and so far, it looks really sharp. Sterling Heights having a little bit of issues, mind you. That certainly helps this group, this talented group of 11. Again, they returned 8 of 11 starters from a season ago. That's certainly a big-time plus when you can get 8 defenders returning. Shotgun, 4-wide look again. Blitz, and everybody was sent. This one incomplete. And they decked him too. They made him pay for it. 4 Big Reds came on the blitz, or immediate pass rush. 56. Malik Edwards, who really looks like he's developed into a strong player. He's been excellent in this game thus far. There you see some of the Big Reds coaching staff on the roof above me. 2nd and 10, 34-yard line, high snap, immediate give, straight up. Keeps moving his feet, and the fact he got maybe 3, brings up 3rd down. Maybe a short 3. The last time these two teams faced each other was 2 years ago in horrible weather conditions. If you'll remember, and the reason I remember it was because it was absolutely dreadful. Puddles all over the field. It was just plain muddy, and there was more brown on the grass than there was green on the grass that night. We'll talk about that in just a moment here. 3rd down and 6 from the 42. They send the man in motion, the fake. Stutter steps, keeper, spin move, nothing. 3, maybe 4 tops. And again, Sterling Heights faced with 4th down. Well, apparently the Lions played their final preseason game. They're doing it right now. Of course, you fans are watching the rebroadcast here, CPHS Channel 6, on this Monday or Tuesday. Of course, I'm doing it on a Thursday night, rare Thursday night to start off the year. They like to do that before Labor Day because apparently they have a pre-Labor Day holiday and a Labor Day holiday. I don't know why you need a pre-Labor Day. Give people excuse to celebrate, I guess. Celebrate a big red win. Yeah, I'd celebrate that too. Need a day off to do that, I guess. Why not? Well, the Big Reds jump here. That's an automatic 1st down. When you're up 30, it doesn't really make Ryan Mullins smile anyway, but you hate to give away 1st downs no matter what, and they do right there on the offside. So 1st down. Finally, Sterling Heights trying to get something going here into Big Red territory. Barely, though, the Big Red 49 on 1st down. 9:14 to go. 2nd quarter and 1st half. Straight up, again straight down. Might have lost a yard. The initial mark by the official indicates maybe inches is all he got. Not much, though. And who gets up from the bottom of that Big Red pile? 37, Alan Rapson. The 5'10", 175-pound senior lineman on both sides of the football. And yeah, that last time they faced each other, 7-3 they beat Sterling Heights on the David Foster kick return touchdown. The only touchdown of that game, 7-3. But it really cemented David Foster as one of the all-time great players here at Port Huron High. This one's incomplete. And man, they are making Joshua Hines pay right now. Every time he throws the football, he's getting decked. So Big Reds, not only are they scoring and really pouring it on Sterling Heights, but they're not taking any prisoners either. They're just hitting them. I guess they are taking prisoners, yeah. And what might come into play here in the 3rd quarter is how long does head coach Ryan Mullins keep his starters in? Obviously, you got to keep them in all 1st half, but at 30-0, my word. Man in motion again, that is 15. Ryan Cook, and they jump. Well, looking at the Big Reds and their talent, offensively, I expected it. Defensively, this is a real nice, I wouldn't say it's a shock, but if it is a shock, it's a welcome shock for me. But you can tell by their overall talent here, this is going to be a superb team in the MAC Blue this season, and it kind of makes you question, is this a team worthy of moving up to the MAC White? They like to make this decision and call every 2 years. Well, they win this year. What do you think? Is this a Mac White caliber program? Of course, Northern was there for years. They were unsuccessful for a while. Of course, they got Coach Connell in there now trying to establish a more successful program, but something to think about. Will the guys in red go to the white? Number 2, great tackle there, Anthony Edwards, by the way. Came from the opposite side and laid a beating down on our tailback, and that's going to bring up 4th down and long again. Looks like another punt for Sterling Heights. They just can't get anything going. You're looking at a big red team that is overcoming the Sterling Heights offensive line up front. They're just getting pressure, they're getting penetration, and they're getting to Joshua Hines at will. If you have to put additional blockers there for your running game, you might have to. This punt from the 30. Another low snap off the ground. See, Smolik decks him, and that's all fine and dandy, and he loves it. Because as a player, as mentioned, your eyes light up, but if you cannot snap this ball to your kicker, you're not going to have field position. This is going to happen. I mean, opening day jitters, but can you blame that? How long can you blame it? It's week 2. I mean, I'm not trying to be mean here. I'm stating the obvious, folks. Like, look at that. That has got to get higher. That has at least got to get him to his helmet. And you're not even near it. And look at Alex Smolik, 17. Just, his eyes just light right up. There you go. Free deck, free shot, free tackle, whatever you want to call it there. The give, hit hard. You can hear that hit up here. Therese Watkins, the carry. 54 laid the smack down. Anthony Salitro brings up 2nd down. And I think you're going to see a lot more running in this quarter now, and maybe for the rest of the game, because when you're up 30, unless you're working on specifics, you've got nothing to really throw for at this stage. But again, they can work on some things, and who knows. Well, they're going to throw this time with the block, and a good one. But they get to him this time. 55, Michael Ador on the tackle for Sterling Heights. That one, basically, they just send the running back, Therese Watkins, in front of the quarterback on a keeper to the outside. And really, does the quarterback cut up the ball, or does he depend completely on the blocker ahead of him? Now, there he kind of waited for the initial block, and if you're 14 there, Therese Watkins, 5'9", 160, you've got to make that first block. And quarterback 5, Chapman, has to recognize that fact as well on that particular play. The give to 14, nothing, Therese Watkins. See, this is what I'm talking about. They're going to conservative play calling now because they're up 30. And it's not like college football used to be. I still believe college football is like that, where the more points you score depending on the strength of your competition, it favors you in the rankings. And I am not a fan of the BCS at all, or running up scores. Sterling Heights late defensively to line up here. Big Reds waited, actually. Airing this one out. Sidelines, in and out of the hands of 20, Jamie Main. And not a bad pass, really, from Mark Chapman, but turnover on downs, and out comes Sterling Heights again. With the Big Reds up 30, nothing. Derek Work, the Big D, CPHS, Channel 6, 5:48 to go in the second. And so important in a 30-0 game if you're the Big Reds. If you're working on basics, if you don't have anything else to prove, then so important that you get the basic fundamentals correct. Stuff like the snaps that Sterling Heights are not getting correct on the punts. And again, that problem has got to be corrected for them, and in a hurry. 4 wide again, 1 back set. Everything is like this. Shotgun look and 1 back set for Sterling Heights. Nothing here at all. They're just getting to him. 20, Jose Ramirez, I believe, on the carry. Maybe is that 30 down there, Brad Rudo. You cannot fault the tailback, though, in a situation like that, because basically they're getting past the line. They are in the backfield almost before that tailback gets the handoff. You talk about pressure. Here they come again, and they're going to down him again. Yes. 10 the sack, Randy Trice, or at least the half sack. Well, they've just gotten pressure since the word go here tonight. They're just being beat up front. And I know I said earlier that this Big Red defensive line, and their line play in general on both sides of the football, very highly touted this season, but defensive line for the Big Reds, they've looked tremendous thus far, and even the linebackers coming in on the blitz. Sterling Heights cannot contain them up front. Here they are again. Look at this. Like, you cannot have success when your quarterback has 2 and 3 men coming after him every single time. He just does not have time to throw the football right now. 55 got in there. Ali Fayad. 10, I believe, Trice. 3 as well, Winslow Chapman. He's going back right now. I believe at his own 40-yard line to return this punt. And that's all Sterling Heights has done so far is punt. This Big Red D. All over them. Big D's impressed with the Big Red D. There you go. Finally, they get a punt off. And finally, a long snap to go with it. Well, Chapman's just going to let this one roll down to the 32 and downed right there, Sterling Heights. That's where the Big Reds are going to get it as they come out with their offense again, and the Chapman show up 30-0. Derek Work, Big D, CPHS, Channel 6. 4 and 15 ticks to go in the second quarter and first half. But I remember that game just like it was yesterday, that 7-3 in puddles. You could have swam that night. Well, not quite, but close. Not exactly clean water, but... Yeah, David Foster broke a long kickoff return touchdown. And Port Huron beat Sterling Heights in that one 7-3. But that was really the only scoring of the game. And then sloppy. Nobody could hang on to the ball. And is that the killer Kovac taking pictures? I said a long time ago, does he really like being called killer? I guess. Play fake, Mark Chapman to the outside, past the 35 to the 37. And for all of you out there, speaking of killer, a different killer. Tom Kowalski obviously died this week, and anybody that's affiliated with that man in the Port Huron area or Detroit area, maybe watching this game anywhere, I want to say what a big fan I was of him. Tom Kowalski. May you rest in peace. Great Lions beat writer. And I remember sitting front row at Ford Field last year and looking at him. And he was a big guy and a really nice, super guy. They always said that about Killer Kowalski. And I remember seeing him, and obviously I didn't think there that he'd be dead in a year. But, man, these things happen. And a great guy was lost there. Tom Kowalski, great beat writer for the Lions. Back to this one. Mark Chapman, rollout. Waits, great presence of mind, and great patience. See you later, Zach Smolik, touchdown, Big Reds. That play is made possible for one reason. Mark Chapman's patience. We have a flag, we have a couple of flags. Wait a minute, might be holding. But the replay is worth seeing just to see how long Chapman holds on to the ball. As a quarterback, you have to be fearless when you throw this. And he waited for that play to develop. That is not a designed play when you wait that long. You wait basically for Zach Smolik to come across the football field and not get hit before you make the throw. And that is exactly what 5 Mark Chapman does. And that is not the first time today that he has waited and knew he was going to get decked and didn't care. But that is great presence of mind by a quarterback. I'll tell you something. This number 5, I mean, never doubt a Chapman is what I preach. Well, I got to say, I came into this game tonight expecting a rushing quarterback. They're trying to prove he can also throw the football. And man, this isn't the first time I've said this line up here in the booth. If number 5 keeps going at the rate he's going, based on week 1 and 2, and he's a junior, folks, man, the chance to be a tremendous star. Look out for 5. They let Justin Black, well, they didn't let him go. He went on his own willpower. I guess he moved down south. Wow, they keep bringing these kids in here. Look at it. Avoids the pass rush here. He's taken off. 5 Chapman, 30, 25, 20, 15, 10, 5 of bye. Touchdown, Big Reds, but another flag. You will see a speed burst from Chapman about his own 40-yard line. Clearly, you can see him picking up his speed. And another block, well, this is a block in the back. This is coming back for the Big Reds. That's 2 touchdowns called back on 2 enormous plays. And really the one that was a shame was Zach Smolik, number 6, because he may not get a lot of long touchdowns. But here, okay, watch him. Watch 5. Speed burst. Well, that's before. Yeah, that's beforehand. Pushed out of bounds there. He makes a speed burst on this touchdown run. Wow. Apparently talent grows on trees at Port Huron. I want to know what trees grow on the Chapmans, because I'll tell you something. I'll take Chapman on my football team any day and play ya. Look at the speed. Like, they're not catching him. Wow. Great job, big fella in the truck there, E.J. Shea, getting that replay. All for naught, obviously. Flag brings it back, but... Mark Chapman also claimed after last week's game his confidence level has gone up a considerable amount since last week, and, well, why wouldn't it, right? 207 on the ground. But that's exactly, if you're Coach Ryan Mullins, what you want to hear from a new quarterback. You don't want to hear him say stuff like, oh, I was unsure of myself, made a couple unquestionable, questionable plays here and there and errors. And no, instead he says, my confidence level is growing all the time. There you go. That's exactly what you want to hear out of a kid that's played 1 game at quarterback. Here he goes, game 2, they're already up 30. That says it all. That speaks volumes. There's some of the Big Red faithful here tonight. Good crowd on hand, as it always is on the Big Red side. They have to be happy with what they're seeing. You wouldn't always know it, and cheering is cut back to a minimum when you're up 30 points, but there you see across the field. And there's some red jerseys over there on the Sterling Heights side. And there's not much really you can do as a football player losing 30 to nothing. Just again, make sure your fundamentals are down pat and basically go from there. I said one of the big keys, the big D's, big keys to winning at the beginning of this one is don't look at this Sterling Heights team as an 0-11 football team. And the Big Reds did not. They came out with respect and came out hard. And that's what Coach Mullins wanted to see tonight. Shotgun look, 3 wide this time. Airing this one out, going deep. Mark Chapman off his chest, and we may have pass interference. 7, Jalen Esters. Good effort. Well, 7 had to come back a little bit to get that pass, but pretty tight coverage, but he touched him. Too much use of the hands really right there. Off the chest of 7. He really still could have maybe caught that ball. Jalen Esters. Not easy to do still with a guy in your face like that, and obviously the pass interference call, but they say in the pros, if a ball hits your hands or in the chest or in the helmet, it had to be caught. You got to like this Big Red team, though, and the weapons continue to be there. Year after year. Skill players, skill positions. That's what it's about. 1st and 10 now. Sterling Heights 49. Well, Montez Jackson, if he gets around that man, he may have a lot of room. There was nobody else over there. Jacob Nishaw, though, brought him down, number 22. Well, the 2011-2012 Port Huron Area School District has some corporate sponsors, and I'm going to read them off right now. E&A Credit Union, Griffin Accounting, Clubhouse Events, Port Huron Hospital, Orthopedic Associates, and Carson Fabricating. We'd like to thank these companies for their support of all the student athletes in the PHASD. There you go. Back to this one, 2nd and 5 from the 43 with 2:54 to go in the second. Hit his own man, ran into the blocker, and pushed back hard by 75, Jonathan McCasbo. Looks like King Thomason getting a lot of carries tonight. Nice to see. Primarily a backup player last year as far as, well, tailback is concerned anyway. I said last year, I remember saying I like him because he was a playmaker. As if this team needs any more playmakers. They're loaded with them. So 2:10 to go, left in the first half of play. And to summarize this first half, domination by the Big Reds. They came out, they did what they wanted to do, and they're still doing what they want to do, basically. Quarterback keeper, Mark Chapman. See, look at the speed. You cannot contend with speed like that if you do not have men waiting for him in front of him. Touchdown, Big Reds. Somebody high five number 5. Man. And I know that Jarrett Chapman had a ton of talent, but you'd say that is the only reason why this Mark Chapman didn't get in last year. And you can tell just by looking at them. Speed just plain runs in the Chapman name. Literally it runs. 36-0. Brandon Huntoon for the extra point try. Snap. Placed down perfect. Kick up. Kick good. So 37-0 now. And what you're going to see in the second half at some point is running time. Before it gets out of hand. And this is something that Coach Mullins, I don't think he's really going to mind. Because he can see the backup players. He can see some of his backup talent. But look at that. If you don't make your initial tackle, you've got to have backside help, or speedsters like that will not get stopped. And there's speedsters of a different kind. In a hurry. No clue where they're going, but they're in a hurry. Mark showed him how to run a minute ago. Great job, 5. Outstanding. Well, the Port Huron Big Red schedule, of course, last week, August 26th, they beat Warren Cousino in Cousino 26-19. Anytime you can go into the Lions' den and come out a winner, you got to love that. Obviously, tonight, September 2nd, Labor Day weekend. Happy early Labor Day to you and yours, and I guess in the U.S., the pre-Labor Day. There you go. They'll be celebrating tonight after this great victory, and why wouldn't they? They don't have to wake up in the morning for school. I don't know if they do for work. Let's get nasty, Port Huron. The kickoff, taking 5, up 10 quickly, 15. Stutter steps to the 20, brought down in a spin to the 22 by 14, Therese Watkins. Next week, Big Reds of Anchor Bay, I believe here, September the 9th. September 16th, mark this one down on your calendars. Utica Eisenhower comes to Memorial Stadium, I believe, because I'm pretty sure, and I don't know for sure, but pretty sure that the Huskies, their first 4 games are on the road. There you see Coach Mullins. Happy with what he sees so far. He's got to be. But now you work on things. Anyway, Anchor Bay next week. Never an easy game. Utica Eisenhower on the 16th. Easier said than done beating them, although it's been done before. Again, a snap error in and out of his hands, and he just dives on it. Joshua Hines. Loss of yardage. That'll bring up 2nd down and long. Can they beat Utica Eisenhower? What was it now? 7 years ago, they said it could not be done, and the Big Reds did it. The night after that, if you'll remember the terrible storm that just hit this whole area, they said a twister touchdown, I think in Marysville that night. Or was it Flint? But I remember the night of the terrible storm, they called the game. And Saturday, they did the game again. Right, little cynic? Well, there he was a minute ago. Right, little cynic there? Yeah, right. Roll out. Here's that pressure again from the Big Reds. Well, they've got to be careful here. That is almost roughing the passer. But they are hitting him, and they're hitting Joshua Hines hard. That was 37. Great late pursuit, Allen Rapson. Brings up third down. Good job by Hines just to wait and wait and wait and see if a play developed, and eventually he got rid of the football. 1:01 to go now, first half of play. 37-0. Big Reds on top. Big D, Derek Work, CPHS Channel 6. Week number 1 for us here, and me up here in the booth. But week 2 of the Big Reds football season. 1-0. Looks very strong, like they're going to go 2-0, barring a miracle. Play fake, but that's not going to work, and the reason it doesn't work is because of the pressure, and they've had it all day. They have owned the line of scrimmage in this first half. If you ever want a tape to show people of how line play is being dominated up front, you're seeing it here. Final 39 seconds. September 23rd, Big Reds, I think they visit Clintondale. September 30th, they play L'Anse Creuse. October 7th, they play Grosse Pointe South. If Grosse Pointe South is as good as advertised, that one could actually end up being for the division. October 14th, the big rivalry game. Mark that one down on your calendars, folks. Big Reds and the Huskies. I love the fact that that rivalry game is later on in the year now. I hated when they had it like week 3. It makes sense to have it late, and they do, and I love that. Finally, they do get a punt off. That one rolling down the 39-yard line of the Big Reds, and that's where they're going to get the football. Good field position, and 3 seconds left. I believe they're just going to kneel and call it the half. Finishing up the schedule, by the way, October the 21st, Madison Heights, Madison. Looking at the schedule, folks, and looking at the overall talent of the Big Reds here, indeed, I see a lot of wins. I see a lot of success this season, and it just amazes me time after time again how they continue to just replace talent at the skill positions. I mean, one guy leaves for graduation like a Jared Chapman. Boom, here's Mark Chapman. Huh, Zmalik's in there too, and Robatham. I mean, just great talents all around. Final 3 seconds. T-look from shotgun, they kneel, that's it. First half, done from Memorial Stadium. You gotta love it if you're a Big Red fan. If you're a Sterling Heights fan, not so much. 37-0. Way to go, Big Red D in the first half. Derek Work, the Big D for CPHS Channel 6, the Port Huron Area School District television station. Back with the second half in a little bit. And welcome back. Just about to begin the second half here from Memorial Stadium. Week number 2 in the young football season. Of course, week number 1 for us and myself, Derek Wark, the Big D, CPHS at Channel 6. Well, the first half, domination. What more can you say? 37-0 at halftime, the big goose egg. It gives Coach Mullins a good chance to see some backup players here in the second half. Poor Sterling Heights, as mentioned. They've come in at 0-11 their last 11 games, and it looks like it's going to be 0-12. Pure domination. First thing that comes to mind is up front, the Big Reds just dominating them. The line play is pure domination. Joshua Hines has no time to do anything. They're right in the offensive backfield on basically every single play. Other big thing, long snapping and all the, basically the errors that have come to be about for the intangibles and all the rest for Sterling Heights, just special teams. It's come to haunt them, and they haven't really done anything to correct it. There's still long snaps, and it's bouncing off the ground, and these errors continue, and you're not going to win football games when that happens. And finally, it's the Mark Chapman show. We heard last week how great this kid was. Well, he's fast, he jukes, he jives, he spins, everything to get the yardage. He's got touchdowns galore in that first half. So really, he's as advertised, very good. The whole Chapman family, they're great athletes. What can you say? Looking forward to seeing them and the Big Reds in upcoming weeks. But so far, 37-0 halftime. Derek Wark, the Big D, CPHS, Channel 6. Well, Big Red's going to kick it back to Sterling Heights now to start the third quarter from Memorial Stadium, the Port Huron Area School District television station, CPHS, and myself, Derek Wark, Big D. Week 2, usually I say week 1, but both teams on the road last week to begin this thing, so kind of a different schedule this year, really. 4 games in a row, the Huskies are away to start the year. Big Red's 4 home games in a row. Or 3, with the exception of last week when they were both away. Kickoff taken at the 10. 15, 20, and push back 22. 6 among tacklers, Big Reds. Zach Smolik. Unfortunately for him, he had a touchdown called back because of penalty flags there in the first half of play, and it was a big one. 60-plus yard reception called back. Anyway, yeah, first half, Big Reds in all aspects of the game, really. Fantastic. And I don't know if they were that good or if Sterling Heights was that bad, but again, the intangibles come into play here. When you don't catch a long snap on a punt, your punter's doomed. Field position is doomed. And you're going to lose a football game. That's all there is. And they did that about 3 or 4 times. So, but simple errors. The good thing is they happen now and not later in the year, and something Sterling Heights is just going to have to correct. If they don't tonight, then for next week, that's what they've got to practice in practice, and it's got to be the number 1 priority. From the 23, 1st and 10, Joshua Hines again. The give, he gets through this time, avoids tackles nicely. Close to the first down, they're saying yes, he's got it. Gain of 12 and a first. That one of the rare instances where the Big Reds really just didn't pick up tackle. They let him go. Grab jersey and all the rest, they just didn't finish. So now it's 1st and 10 from the 34. 10:35 to go in the third. Shotgun look, 1 back set, and 4 wide. They've done this basically all day. Now there's a big battering ram kind of a run there. 81 brought him down. Now for the Big Reds, Brahim Cruz. And 70, Derek Waters, the carry. Getting some good yardage here for Sterling Heights to start the second half. Well, my first thought about that first half of play, well, we'll talk about it in a minute. Here's the replay, and there you see. Look at him drag tackle, though. That's something that Sterling Heights just didn't do in the first half because they had no time to. End around look with the leading blocker. Past midfield to the 45. Now took the hit, lowered his head, and got to the 35 of the Big Reds. That is a weird example of where if you lower your head, you get 10 more. Usually you get maybe 2 more, maybe 3, but he lowered his head there, and he came out flying. Deontay Dixon, 23. That play worked, and it worked without the lead blocker. They had him there, but they didn't even really need him or use him. 23 got out there in a hurry. Deontay Dixon, the 5'10 senior from Sterling Heights. Hines, well, up and down, basically, 7. Gang tackled by the Big Reds. Derek Waters the carry again. And you can pick a Big Red. Name one. How about 13, Tyler DeBuff? There you go. Right Killer Kovac, sir? I don't even know what he's doing today. He's on grip or something, they say. Cameraman. He's laughing, taking pictures and snapshots and all the rest. He's not up here taking a picture of my pearly white chiclets. That's a good thing. Outside, left side, got 7, maybe 8, close to the 25, about the 27, depending on the spot, and it doesn't look like a good one for Hines. Are they saying shy of the 30? Wow. Pushed out of bounds way far back than I thought. Anyway, 3rd down and 5, and I would guess right now you go for it. Dunkin' Donuts. Time to make the donuts. There you go. I had a coffee here earlier. Tasted pretty good. Just like Dunkin' Donuts. There you go. Well, that's offside. Receiver in the slot moved, but also the running back went in forward motion, which, again, can't be done. So there you go. And that was my first thought, is that the Big Reds really, they don't miss Black. And I never thought I would say that. I mean, Black could do it all last year, Justin Black. He could throw deep, he could run a little bit. He was just a great high school football player, a great high school quarterback. But I tell you, Mark Chapman, and with a year left, with a junior year coming yet, or a senior year, he's in his junior year now. Wow. Future very bright. And no, they don't miss Black. And again, I never thought I would say that. 50 among tacklers for the Big Reds. Guy Dicio among Big Red tacklers anyway. Well, and again, the biggest key coming into this game, if you're the Big Reds, you can't overlook any team. And they didn't. They came out and they played really hard. They played physical football and they got the job done, got an early huge lead. Of course, 37-0 at halftime, but I mentioned Sterling Heights at 0-11. You can't play a team like they're 0-11. You play a team like they're 11-0 of their last 11 games. And Sterling Heights certainly has not been a very successful program in recent years. But the Big Reds didn't treat them that way. They came out and played their game their way, and it showed right off the bat. And the Big Red faithful, the marching band, the Big Red marching machine there at the half was playing Don't Stop Believing. And they even paused when it got to the part where they say, down and raised in South Detroit, something like that. They all sung it instead of played it, so there you go. Anytime you're breaking out the journey, it's a good night, man. Here's a sack in the backfield. They got him this time. 56, Malik Edwards. Actually, you want a rock band with a great lead singer? Steve Perry, there's one. Journey. I don't know many that can hit the notes he could, which has a lot to do with football. I know this. What can you do? X-Radio DJ sitting here. Talk about the odd rock group. Not against the law. Steve Perry, good singer. Back to this one, 3rd and 4. Don't stop believing. I guess so, the way things have gone for the Big Reds thus far. Week 2. Looking good to go 2-0. QB keeper, but that fooled nobody again. This wasn't a case of that the Big Reds just had great pressure and great pressure into the offensive backfield. They just had a guy on block this time. 13 wasn't accounted for, Tyler DeBuff, and he just sat there and waited and then went to get Joshua Hines, who really has had a tough day today. Again, Sterling Heights lost 14-6 last week. They're 0-1. They look like they're going to go 0-2 here, unless a miracle happens, trailing the Big Reds and your Port Huron High Big Reds 37-0, with 5:12 to go in the 3rd. Derek Work, the Big D, CPHS Channel 6. I have not blogged lately, but when I blog, bigdsports.info, www.bigdsports.info. And you know what I do on there? I talk about the game I saw. And I've been told that I do that pretty well, just like I'm there. Well, I was there, so why wouldn't I talk about it like I was there? But anyway, I have a lot of fun on there, and it's really rewarding for me when the players write in. I like that. Mike LaForge did that last year. That was great. A couple of the parents, too, and gave their opinions on the game and their opinions on CPHS, and even of the Big D, dare I say it. BigDsports.info. I'll write about this one and every game that I do play-by-play for this year. There you go. And hopefully hear from you, because that's what it's all about. Big Reds jump. They get back, though, before they make any kind of contact. Right behind right guard, and nothing. Buried again. I said beginning of this broadcast to start the second half of play. You're looking at pure domination, line to line. Big Reds are beating them up front. And any coach or anybody in the game of football will say, despite the fact that they're not pretty, they're the big meat eaters up front and all the rest of it, they're the most important part of your game, of your team. And if you dominate up front, you're going to win the football game. And this is just pure, utter domination. And you know darn well, despite the fact that it's 37-0, the defense would love a shutout. The first real good drive that Sterling Heights had today. That last one, and it stalled. But the first time where you looked at them and really thought, they're establishing themselves a little bit on this drive. They're moving the ball downfield. Second down, and they say 1, but it looks more like 2, maybe 2.5, 3. That's a long one. Anyway, it's 2nd and 1. Ball is marked 19-yard line. 3 and 41 ticks to go in the third. It's been a quick third quarter. I believe they're going running time here now. Big Reds up tons and tons. Straight up give, first down and a ton more. He could be gone. Past midfield, tripped up 45, down 44 of Sterling Heights. 23, I believe, got him, Deontay Dixon. Not before a huge gain for the Big Reds yet again. Portis Hollier, backup player. Carl Portis Hollier, 16. Ran like Clinton Portis on that one. Just took off and had good wheels. Tripped up or he was gone. From the 44, 1st and 10, bobbled snap, and Sterling Heights jumps on the football. 9, I should also mention, backup quarterback Brett Vanderpool is in there for the Big Reds, and that's one that I'm sure they'd all like back. Sterling Heights will take it. Still down 37-0. And it is running time. Clock would normally stop right here, but it's not stopping at 2.5 to go in the third. From the 48, 1st and 10. Big Reds making a bunch of late substitutions, and you can tell that they're late. Basically, their backup players getting in there and getting some playing time, which always nice to see. And you know the starters sit back on the bench, and they love watching it because they love seeing these guys get points and tackles and all the rest of it. Well, that's just unacceptable right there, in and out of the hands of Ryan Cook, because that's a simple pass out in the flat. It hit him in the hands, and there's nobody defending him. They're playing deep stuff. They're not playing that flat stuff. And when you're wide open, I don't care what pass you get, you've got to make the catch if it's in your hands. From the 48 now, 2nd and 10. Minute 29 to go, third quarter. Shotgun look. Hines, keeper. Well, that's going nowhere again. The continued pressure on Joshua Hines, as it's been all day long. Tremendous by the Big Reds. 10, Randy Trice. And I look like a genius because I sat here earlier tonight and said the Big Red defensive line is going to be good this year. I believed Coach Mullins. He said it too. And it is what has been advertised. But here's the thing, okay? Joshua Hines is making play fakes and spin moves and all the rest. If you're doing that with the amount of pressure that the Big Reds have had tonight, you're going to eat turf. That's all there is to it. They are getting to the offensive backfield way too quickly. Shotgun again. Here you see. See, here's the pressure again. This time blindside, and he got decked. Airing it out, batted down. Strong defensive play by 20 Jamie Main, and I think the crowd wanted pass interference of some kind. Well, it was caught, I guess. Yeah, tipped and then caught in the air. I thought 20 there, Jamie Main. I didn't have the best angle on that one. I thought Main tipped it. It's a good defensive play, just got unlucky. That was what the crowd was going off for. There was a bit of contact down there. That's the third quarter. No points on the board. It was a third quarter that just flew by. I'm shocked that I'm even saying end of the three, but after three, still 37-0 Big Reds. And as we see 7, Jalen Estards lay the absolute smackdown on 3, Joshua Haynes. Derek Work, the Big D, CPHS Channel 6, back with the fourth in a moment. Welcome back to the fourth. Derek Work, Big D, CPHS, Channel 6, the Port Huron Area School District television station. 984-6621, the number to call for continuing programming information, as well the bulletin board is constantly up on Channel 6. And don't forget about our Request Friday. You give them a call at 984-6621 and request the show you want to see watch the most. The number of votes, get it every week. Call the big fella in the truck, who will actually be the big fella in studio, and you tell him, big fella, we want to see the Big D again on Friday. I'll request. Or any other great program they may have. Check your listings for show times. Back to this one. Fourth quarter begins. Gets the carry. Nothing. Tripped up. 7 on the carry again. Derek Waters. While Port Huron area schools would like to thank the following area medical personnel for providing over 500 free sports physicals. That's right, 500 for Port Huron area school students. And they are Dr. Gary Doss, Dr. Steve Heitoff, Dr. Todd Murphy, Jody Hodney, PAC, Ben Lloyd, PAC, and we'll give the rest of these names here in just a moment. Again, Port Huron area school students and the medical personnel that bring them good health. On 2nd and 9, 26. Great job avoiding the pass rush this time. They finally spring Joshua Hines free. And still after all that running, he didn't really get much. The rest of these names. Dr. Elsafi, Dr. Raj Makim, Dr. Zwang, Kelly Schweiger, the PAC, Dr. Wilhelm, Dr. Ali, Dr. Kraus, and Amy Collins, also PAC. Thank you for all you do, folks, for our community and the Port Huron area schools. 500 free sports physicals. How's that, huh? Thanks a lot, folks. That's great stuff, reading that. 3rd down and 1. Sterling Heights, a chance at a rare first down. They haven't had many all game long. Pure domination at the line by the Big Reds. Pass out in the flat. In and out of the hands again. I think that's that same guy, 15, Ryan Cook. I mean, it's a tough night when you throw a pass in the flat for 1 yard and you're not covered for the second straight time and you're not getting it. It's just not your night. Should also thank the entire cast of CPHS Channel 6 tonight for a great job as always. Well, we'll talk about that here in just a moment. They're going for it on 4th down and 1. Why wouldn't you? Down 37, running time. Play fake, keeper. Hines has got it. All kinds of daylight. More to the outside, though, than north-south. Good job, King Thomason, by the way, to show great speed getting over there quickly to down him. But and then he helps him up. Well, that's a good sport. And there you see a run by Joshua Hines that basically had a bare side. No defenders over there to the right, and he just got easy first. Got about 4 or 5 more than he needed. CPHS Channel 6 entire staff today. Cameras people, Shelly Sinek. Good to see her back and running things. Ed's wife. And production personnel extreme. And he says, I taught her everything she knows. Excellent. Excellent stuff. Emily Desmond, Brandon Wright, Grip, Brandon the Killer Kovac. We'll talk about the rest of that crew in just a moment and the great stuff they do down there in the CPHS van. They're proud of that van. Why wouldn't they be? This play is dead from the start. That'll bring up second down and long. Slow-mo camera tonight. I said it was the big fella in the truck, E.J. Shea. He's actually the slow-mo director. Slow-mo cam, Andy the Big Bad Wolf. Graphics, Aaron Bitzinger. And the director, as always, special thanks to him for bringing me back for year 15. Now, I know a lot of people that don't want to see me for 15 days, 15 hours even. This is Ed's 15th year putting up with the Big D, so, well, maybe not his 15th year. 10th maybe, but you get my point, right? Big D longevity, not everybody wants that. But he did. So thanks to Ed, and obviously the big fella down there in the truck, E.J. Schaefer, putting up with me. And he must not mind putting up with me because he said something about Notre Dame tickets in a week. Wow. So there you go. Yeah, CPHS Channel 6, Port Huron Area School District, and Derek Wark, the Big D. Seriously, though, happy to be back here again for yet another season in the captain's chair, as I call it. And it's just great. And as I said earlier, it's not about being a Lions fan, just about being the Wolverines fans. Go Blue, by the way. They're my number one in anything. Michigan football is great. But I also am a Husky and Big Red fan now. I'm constantly reading stuff about them. Constantly checking out the Port Huron Area Times-Herald. Constantly blogging about them on bigdsports.info. And you know what? I have 4 football teams now, where I never used to. So there you go. It was great last year seeing both Big Reds and Huskies in the playoffs. That was really great. And you know what? Just the threat. They both lost, but just the threat of knowing they could have played each other in round 2. That really made things interesting around here, and it's really something that I'll never forget that year. From the 14, second and 10. This time a play fake. Hines brought down. Great job. That's just a nice open field tackle. Tyler DeBuff, because he wrapped him up at the waist and dragged him down. So often people go for tackles and they just miss. But if you wrap a guy up and you drag him, you're going to get help eventually. That's a good job. Tyler DeBuff, nice tackle. Well, players of the game for Sterling Heights. Offensively, and I never ever do this, and this is no discredit to them, but it's every bit of credit to the Big Reds. I'm going to say nobody. And hold on a minute, because they might get a touchdown. Whoever gets this touchdown gets player of the game. No, they dropped that well. Good defensive play first and foremost. 20, the Big Reds. Jamie Main. Good job. Yeah, no one. So far, anyway, player of the game. Because they have nothing to show, but they haven't really moved the football enough. And you know what? It isn't their fault. The Big Red defensive line has dominated this game. Absolutely massacred this game. If you can't move in your own offensive backfield, you cannot move the football. That is all there is to it. 4th and 9 from the 13. Maine is going to get decked. Hines, sorry. And he did. He really got leveled there. Pass complete, but it's going to be turnover on downs. 55, Ali Fayad. Crushed 3, Joshua Haynes. And that's a blindside hit. He doesn't see him coming there. He gets rid of the ball. Nice completion. Not at the sticks. Not enough for the first down, so it's coming back, but he got decked. So again, the fact that I can't name a player of the game offensively for Sterling Heights tells you that the defensive line of the Big Reds gets my entire defensive player of the game. The front 4, but even that's not fair, the front 7 or 8 were tremendous in the face of Hines all day long. So that whole line gets my defensive player of the game, and certainly accurate with what I've been reading this week, saying how good they are up front and they're as good as advertised. 9, by the way, the backup quarterback, as mentioned earlier, Brett Vanderpool, the carry there, the rare carry. He's an off-the-bench player with Mark Chapman sitting now. And if you're wondering, he was dynamite earlier. I mean, where do they keep getting these guys from? I was told downstairs there's another Chapman in the works, Daniel Chapman. We may see him up here in a few years. So Jarrett, apparently, I was told down there by James, who doesn't play football, he plays soccer, that Jarrett is starting for Central Michigan University tonight. Wow, that blew me away. I knew he was good, but a Division I player from here is exceptional. I don't care if you play for Central Michigan in the MAC, Notre Dame, or if you play for something like South Dakota State Dental. If it's D1, congratulations to whoever makes it. Jared Chapman, congratulations. Wow, that's great news. That really is. And I love to hear when guys like David Foster, Terry Mitchell, Chris Taddy, when they go on from here and play football and play on Saturday afternoons the year after. That really says something, and it makes the play-by-play worthwhile to know these kids went somewhere. So I was pleased as anything to hear that. This one coming back, I would think. Nice open field tackle, flag on the play, but good job tripping up the feet. 57, I believe, the tackle. Malk Petway. And I think we have a timeout in the field. 4:25 left. The one rare thing that will stop the clock. A timeout. Because it is running time right now, obviously, 37-0. But yeah, and there I am right there. There's a big D right there. What do you think? Tigers. But anyway, yeah, tonight, the Mark Chapman story, as we predicted. The guy was amazing, and I really look forward to seeing him in weeks where they're not playing teams like this, playing like Grosse Pointe South, where they're predicting Grosse Pointe South and the Big Reds are going to have a battle for first place in this MAC Blue division. But the Big Reds right now look dynamite, and certainly the favorites to win the MAC Blue this season. So, and as it goes, you just can't doubt them, and you just can't doubt, again, the Chapmans. Shotgun. Quick carry, got one, maybe two. Third down and long coming here now. .408 to go. And are you filming yourself there? Is he filming himself? He is. Great job, camera, tonight, man. For your first time. Come on. Come on. Great job. Great job. And you were nervous, too. Don't lie to the Big D. You were nervous tonight. All right. Good job, buddy. Great stuff. 3:46 to go in the fourth. 37-0. Play fake. Keeper again. Spin move, but got tackled. Short gain. 9 among tacklers. Dantes Oliver. So again, defensive player of the game. You got to take the Big Red defensive line. All of them. The 4 of them up front. I said the front 7, front 8, whatever they played throughout. Offensive player of the game, and I think we're going to get used to this. You got to go with Mark Chapman. Wow. Better than advertised. I said earlier, I came into the game thinking I was expecting a running quarterback only. Based on his numbers last week, he only threw for 84 yards. But no, it was just the opposite. They came out throwing. They came out trying to establish 5 on the pass. And he did a good job tonight. They did a good job doing that, too, for future weeks, where it's not always going to be this easy. They're going to be tested. And they've got Utica Eisenhower in a couple of weeks. Folks, you want to see a football team. Huh. The Big Reds are going to find out how good they are real quick. But it's a measuring stick game, if nothing else. Utica Eisenhower comes in here and rips them apart. Really, who cares? You win your MAC Blue games, you win the title, you go to the playoffs, fine. That's what you worry about, really. 3 goals every year, right? To win the MAC Blue, to make the playoffs, and to beat Northern. As Northern will say, their goal is to beat the Big Reds. That's your 3 goals every year. So that Utica Eisenhower game means very little other than to make a measuring stick. That's a deep sack way back in the backfield. He came up with the football. He wants it bad too. That's Jalen Esters. He's actually had a lot of plays tonight where he's had some great late pass pressure. So Jalen Esters, player to watch here in the future too. 1:35 to go in the fourth. It's all over now. 37-0. Your Big Reds are going to go 2-0, folks. Sterling Heights 0-2. And it's going to be a while before they get back on track by the looks of things. This way overthrown. Intended receiver 23, Deontay Dixon. Well, he's alone up there and pretty quiet. Looking around for anybody who might talk to him, I guess. That's across the field over there. Sterling Heights going to get shut out here by the looks of things. And that's, first and foremost, you want to win. You want to go 2-0. But the defense have got to be pleased. Anytime you can put a goose egg up there on the scoreboard at 37-0, the defense will love that. So congratulations to the entire defensive unit. Airing this one out. That's a backup quarterback, by the way, number 10, Jacob Hines. So we've got Joshua Hines and Jacob Hines in there. So both Hines. Future commercial maybe for the catch-up. I don't know. Not spelled the same if you're wondering, and I really don't know why you would be. H-E-I-N-S, Hines. Final 10 seconds. Now 9, now 8. There you see. Running time. We're through. I don't think they're going to get this playoff even. That's going to do it from Memorial Stadium, where the Big Reds go 2-0 on the first 2 games that they played. Great stuff, boys. 37-0. They were far superior tonight than Sterling Heights, who go to 0-2. I want to congratulate the defensive line for the Big Reds. This was domination tonight, like line play like I haven't seen in years. Derek Work, the Big D for CPHS, Channel 6, 37-0. How about those Big Reds, folks? See you next week.
Thank you, everyone. We're back. We'll continue our discussion on the motion. Is there anyone else on the discussion for ICLE? Mr. McCullough, please.
This question was brought up during a public audience, and I'm just curious. On the contract, it does talk about other travel expenses. If you could just give us an idea, more, well, so that you know kind of where we're looking at ballpark-wise, if it's going to be more or less than this year, and that kind of idea.
Well, the budgeted amount for the contract days, the consultant days, we had budgeted high. We budgeted 500 a day. It is coming in significantly less than that. It's, as you have in front of you, it's coming in at about 384. That would include hotel, meal, and travel expenses. For our invoices through December 31st, which is all I have at this point in time, our travel costs were $14,605.
And I guess thank you for that piece of information. I did have a question relating to Ms. Sheets' kind of a follow-up. It might be a piggyback. I guess since I'm new to the board and still getting acclimated to everything, still trying to understand the whole concept of a certain amount has to be allocated for professional development. What does the contract say? If we don't allocate money to professional development, does the state come in and tell us we're a bad school district or fine us or anything like that?
Well, we are required by law to provide 30 hours of professional development in our district. Because of the nature of our contract, our teachers are required to have 38 hours of professional staff development because they've traded out 8 hours for seat time with kids. So we are required to provide professional staff development. We are allocated, budgeted every year, an amount of money that we are as a district to put toward textbook purchases, school improvement activities, and again, professional staff development. That is an amount that is allocated every year. We use it for general K-12 activities. That is general fund money. And so it is from that general fund money that we operate, and we allocated the funds last year and will allocate funds this year if this agreement is approved.
And I guess, and I think, I don't know, I shouldn't speak for Mrs. Sheets, but it does, at some point our money runs out. Is this one of those things where it's one of the state's unfunded mandates that they kind of give us? They have an expectation, even though we don't have money out there to pay for something?
Well, I don't know if you want to add here, but our state aid, our foundation allowance, we are to operate our district out of that foundation allowance, and we are expected to do curriculum activities. We are required to do curriculum activities, make sure that we are aligned with the state. We are required to do PD. We are required to do school improvement activities. It is an expectation, yes.
And one last question. I don't want to hog the time. I do probably have a comment later before the vote, but just have a question about, there was comments during the public audience portion tonight about the quality of the instruction from ICLE, and I got Mr. Kindle's and Mr. Williams' comments, perspective on ICLE, but I didn't ask about the quality of instruction or the people that are coming to teach our teachers in these trainings. What's your feeling on what they're presenting?
The consultants that we work with are top quality. They are leaders in their field. Many of them are teaching our current professors. Most of them have doctoral degrees in education. Many of them were voted State Teacher of the Year. They are very good at what they do. We have two main things that transpired this year for which we use consultants. One is working with the leadership teams and providing coaching for our building principals. Mr. Kindle and I had an opportunity to sit down with each one of our building principals when their needs assessments first came out, before they started doing their action plan work, which was done under the the tutelage of our consultants, and we asked them, is this money well spent? And to an administrator, we were told, yes, it is helping, this is what we need to do, and we would like to continue it if we can do so. The other major activity that we are using our consultants for was the Quadrant D training that just concluded on Friday. We had an elementary training of 6 days where teams from each of our elementary team groups, buildings came in and worked with Jim Miles. We had a secondary training, and it was broken up 2 days, 1 month, 2 days, another month, and ideally was to be 2, 2, and 2, but we were hit by snow, so that did get broken up a bit. I have evaluations. If anyone on the board is interested in seeing those evaluations, they are very supportive of the program. Will I say that there weren't some comments about odds and ends and things? Yes, there were. And I would expect that there would be someone who's unhappy with one thing or another. But I have those in my office, and I'm willing to share those. The other thing that I wanted to tell you, because Cleveland School was unable to be with us during Thursday and Friday when they went to the McCall Conference to get their technology award, I videotaped those 2 days, and we're putting together a DVD specifically for that staff, but I will have an extra copy if anyone would like to come and see what was it that our teachers experienced. You can see firsthand, and you can see the involvement and engagement of our staff. I enjoyed the training. I sat through and participated in the 6 days with the elementary group. We also included in that staff from the RISA, and they were able to join us for most of the days. And in conversation with a couple of the consultants from the RISA, they are already beginning to embed Quadrant D learning and activities in the work that they're doing with our classroom teachers.
Thank you. Anyone else? Let me just go before you, Tim, we'll come back. A year ago, when we started to look at this, one of the things we considered as a board and we looked at was cost. And so we went back and took a look at what the district had been spending for professional development, those types of activities prior to this, so we would have a benchmark to say, are we going to buy a program that's worth our while, worth our dollar, are we getting a bang for our buck? And we had determined that over the previous 3 years prior to that, we had spent $2.2 million on professional development and staff development and those kinds of activities. So this fit very nicely in that. In a $100 million a year budget, this is less than 0.5% to enhance and empower and improve our instruction. I said when we had our first discussion about this at Kroll when we had the board meeting, we've been doing the same thing for the last 10 years and we spent about $1 billion. How's that working for you? It gets a little tedious to say, well, we had this information 4 or 5 years ago and this is what we should have done. I'm tired of living in the past. I'm like Mr. Kendall. We chose to move forward and make an improvement. I'm excited about this. I support it. I think it's great, and I can't wait to vote for it. Mr. McCall.
And I just want to add my comment. I've been taking in some information, been mulling over this. We talked it over last week as well with some conversations I've had with administration and just a general feel from interacting with the parents, with the teachers that I interact with and have friendships with. From the top down, it's really nice to have ICLE as a partner in this, and it helps with cohesiveness. And that's what Ms. Murphy had talked about earlier, is that it helps with cohesiveness. And I think they have had a lot of initiatives in the past, probably really great initiatives, but there never was just one defining initiative for the whole school district. And just looking at this and knowing that we committed the first year, and this is actually the implementation year of what we've been doing this last year, I do have, the money guy in me says, man, there's no money, but I also understand that it has to be allocated. And for some reason, I'll have to always struggle with that because it just the side of accounting and my life, it has to balance somehow. But besides that, just looking at the fact that it is mandated that we have to have professional development, we have one cohesive vision, we're all working on the same page, which is always important. I know I will be supportive of this evening as well, so.
Thank you.
I think the studies that were done are public. We have a full notebook of needs for each school. And I know many of us, as we read through those needs, as we assessed this year of study, we were pretty upset with where we are right now. And this gives us the opportunity to and I do appreciate the one comment, teachers do need collaboration time. They need time now to work together with these lessons, and that's a focus that needs to be thought deeply about. But this is the most coordinated effort I've seen, and I've worked on a lot of school improvement committees, a lot of district committees, spent a lot of time. And we had pockets of things that worked for a while and then, for whatever reason, never got carried out. I think this is a dedication we need to make to do what's best for our kids and help them have the best opportunity to reach their potentials.
Thank you. Mrs. Kudrett, can we have the roll, please?
Yes, sir. Mr. Herring.
No.
Mr. Crewell.
Yes.
Mr. McCullough.
Yes.
Mrs. Murphy.
Yes.
Mrs. Sheets.
No.
Mrs. Damashki.
Yes.
Mr. Stout.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Next, under items for action, we're accepting gifts from donors. Mr. Kendall, please.
Thank you, Mr. Stout. I would like to extend a special thank you and also recognize the following generous donors. First, the Youth Advisory Council of the Community Foundation of St. Clair County for their donation of $500 to Port Huron Northern High School to support their book drive. Also, Freescale Semiconductor from Austin, Texas for their very generous gift of $500 to the 21st Century After School Program to be used for the first robotics team and competition. And also Baker College for their donation of 40 Dell computers with flat screen monitors, which the approximate value is worth $21,000. This gift was facilitated by Dr. Connie Harrison, who's the president of Baker College. So a very special thank you to Baker College. The computers will be distributed throughout our district as needed. It is my recommendation that the Board of Education accept the gifts as presented and that letters of appreciation be sent on behalf of the Board of Education.
Thank you, Mr. Kendall. Could we have a motion that supports that recommendation?
So moved.
Support.
Discussion.
Just,
Mr. McCullough, please.
and I know I've asked a lot of questions tonight,
You're
but it's not a question, just a comment. Being from this area, I was able to go to SE4 and Baker College. And a lot of times people don't realize Baker College, but we do have two fine institutions of learning that are in our community. And it's nice to see that Baker College is helping the school district. And a lot of times we do have strong connections with SE4, but this also shows the other side of Baker College. It's in Port Huron Township, and I'm a graduate of there as well. So it is a fine college, and I'm glad to see that they're donating computers to our school district.
Thank you. Mrs. Kudrett, please.
Mr. Crewell.
Yes.
Mr. McCullough.
Yes.
Mrs. Murphy.
Yes.
Mrs. Sheets.
Yes.
Mrs. Damashki.
Yes.
Mr. Herring.
Yes.
Mr. Stout.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you. Under Division for Finance, we normally take the next three together. That would be the receive and review the presentation of bills report, receive and file the treasurer's report, and approve the reimbursement to the general fund. Could we have a motion supporting those three recommendations?
So moved.
Support.
Discussion, questions? Mrs. Kudrett?
Mrs. Damashki.
Yes.
Mr. Herring.
Yes.
Mr. Crewell.
Yes.
Mr. McCullough.
Yes.
Mrs. Murphy.
Yes.
Mrs. Sheets.
Yes.
Mr. Stout.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you. Under Division for Instruction and Administration, we're being asked to approve the issuance of 19 General Education Development Certificates. Could we have a motion of support for that recommendation?
So moved.
Support.
Discussion? Mrs. Cadret?
Mr. Herring?
Yes.
Mr. Krewell?
Yes.
Mr. McCullough?
Yes.
Mrs. Murphy?
Yes.
Mrs. Sheets?
Yes.
Mrs. Damashki?
Yes.
Mr. Stout?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Under Division for Personnel Changes, we're being asked to approve the monthly personnel report. Could we have a motion that supports that recommendation?
So moved.
Support.
Questions? Comments? Mrs. Cadret?
Mr. Krewell?
Yes.
Mr. McCullough?
Yes.
Mrs. Murphy?
Yes.
Mrs. Sheets?
Yes.
Mrs. Damashki?
Yes.
Mr. Herring?
Yes.
Mr. Stout?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Under items for information, we have no new, but again, a reminder on the superintendent's evaluation. Please try to get that to me by the end of the month so we can compile it and present a summary evaluation at our April meeting. Question, comment?
Oh, no, I was just going to report on my trip to Lansing.
Why don't you share that with us right now?
Oh, I'm sorry, you want me to wait for board comment?
It's up to you.
Doesn't matter.
Make a choice.
Whatever you want.
We'll wait.
Okay.
Next up is our second opportunity for citizens to speak. Anyone wishing to come forward, please come forward. State your name and your city and/or township of residence.
Hello again. I'm still Kurt Baker, and I'm still from all those places I was from before. I wish to make a comment regarding Mr. Kindle's comments about the stupid test, because I was obviously the person that said that. I'm not referring to state-mandated tests. I understand that by law we have to do that, and we have no choice in that. I'm referring to district-mandated, maybe they aren't mandated, maybe I misunderstand it, district-generated common assessments that I understood we were supposed to give that would be used for data collection when the state passed its new statewide curriculum. I sat on many of those committees and drew up the tests, and at the time I said, well, these aren't the best. I really wish we'd come back and revisit them. I've been asking a lot of curriculum people about that, and I always get the same answer, which is usually a shoulder shrug. That's the stupid test I'm referring to, and I will stand by that comment. I would invite any board members, any administrators to come to my room, and I'll point out to you exactly what I'm talking about. As Ms. Shagney said, we were told to teach to the curriculum guides that we were given. And I'm not even sure who developed the curriculum guides, if they came from the state or if we developed them as a district. I find it very limiting. I like to do projects or try and get kids discussing. I get those going, they take time, and then all of a sudden, bam, you're at the end of the marking period. And now, according to the pacing guide, I've got to be through chapter 12. But gee, I haven't finished chapter 12. What am I supposed to do? So I try and get the kids prepared for a test. That's the stupid test I'm referring to. It hinders education. It does not go into quadrant D. Please, let's begin looking at these things if we have to do it, if we're going to do it. If we're not, let's move ahead and get rid of them and focus on quadrant D type assessments, if that's where we're going. That's what I'm asking for, and once again, I would invite any of you to come here and take a look at it. I don't feel I was given a choice. My boss has told me this is what I'm supposed to do, and I'm an employee and I understand that. You know, ultimately, whether I agree with you or not, when you make the decision, I have to live with it. I go back to my classroom and I do the best I can to implement that with the resources I'm given, with the students I have, and the time I'm allowed. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Baker, for clarifying.
Hi, Haley Alderman, Fort Gratiot. I would like to agree with Mr. Kindle and Mr. Stout. We do need to make choices that move our district in a positive direction, and I'd like to give you some quick examples. I have teachers that stay after school every day to help kids, you know, in algebra, history, regardless, across the scale, everyone helps. Everyone puts in their time. It's obvious that these teachers care, and they make these choices every day. Lots of them participate in the ICLE meetings. My friends and I who've attended the meeting tonight are students. We participate in the Principals Advisory Council. We give input to our school every single day as to how to make changes. We've gone to the ICLE meetings as well that were offered to students and offered our input. Obviously, they've been put up here time and time again with our little statistics that we've done. And to Mr. Stout, we do need to stop living in the past. However, in my favorite subject of history, we travel back in time every single day, and I think the most important thing that we learn is that we need to learn from the mistakes that we've made in history so that we don't repeat them. And I believe that tonight, by passing this, you've just repeated a mistake. By not taking into account the input of teachers and students and other stakeholders in the district, you made another mistake. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good evening, Board. My name is Carla Bishop. I am currently working at Central Middle School. I'm a paraprofessional. I am the vice president of our union at this point. I just have a couple questions about the financial, and if you could answer for me. One, Mr. Willeen had spoke about a millage coming in 2.5, a modest millage. If that millage does pass, will it take precedence over, is there finance in the financial department? Is there monies already allocated for building maintenance and such things? Will that help the budget at that point? Will that increase the budget to help us to maybe balance a little bit? That was the first question. My second question is, the newspaper states already that we're looking at cutting about 64 teachers. And that's just general ed, my understanding is. What about special ed teachers? What about paraprofessionals, which of course is my concern? If we have any idea where, if there's going to be cuts, where you said there's going to be some cuts in jobs. And if you could answer those questions for me, I'd appreciate that. Thank you.
Let me try first, Tina, and then you fix it if I mess it up. The bond proposal money is, as presented, was for 60-some% for buildings, 30-some% for technology, 2% for site, and that's specific to those capital improvement and those type projects. It does not fall, the money does not fall back into the general fund. What it does, allows relief from general fund monies, additional general fund monies, then having to be used as you go down the road to do those type of capital projects. Right now, we've got about 2.9 in the capital projects fund.
Correct.
It doesn't take long to eat that up. If you need a couple of roofs, you need a new boiler, you need that kind of thing. When that money's gone, you may still have additional capital improvement requirements that come to, and if those projects or those fixes are addressed in the bond money, it comes out of that. If there was no bond money, then there would have to be choices made about what to fix, when to fix, and how much to pay to fix it. And that, I certainly, and I'm not certainly in favor, I don't want to wake up with a classroom or a building that looks like some of the examples of other districts around the state who haven't had the ability to maintain their facilities. And that, so does that get the first one, kind of? The second one, we're still going through staffing. I didn't see the number 64. I don't know, up, down, what, sideways, whatever. But we're still going through staffing. We've got some time to still continue to do that. And we're looking at our enrollment, our funding, and everything else. But those staffing decisions and any kind of potential layoff list that the board will consider is still farther down the road and will come in the future.
Could we get that information prior to maybe the media?
Well, yeah,
DMEA
it'll be public. We'll know on the staffing day, but our staffing day isn't like close to the end of April. So we're
Right.
still a month or so away from that.
Okay.
Okay? Thank you.
Hi, Tony Helmrich, Port Huron. I would like to call to attention the fourth bullet point on page 16 of the 2011 bond issue packet that states that we will upgrade.
Could you step just a little closer to the microphone? It's really hard to hear.
It will upgrade the boiler at Port Huron High School from steam to hot water. I may not be the best at science, but I can't for the life of me figure out the difference between the two. Could any of you explain it to me?
That's easy. The difference between hot water and steam. Think of the BTUs it takes to make steam versus just hot water. And it's a huge savings in amount of BTUs, which directly affects how much gas you use. So hot water is much more efficient.
Thank you. In addition, I've been reading over some of the items that are in the bond issue, and a lot of them I like very much. But a few of them I had a problem with, namely the improvements to Memorial Stadium, which I think is a very nice stadium. And I don't quite see what improvements we could make to the stadium could possibly help with students' education. And Mr. Kindle, you say we're not doing anything about the problems we repeatedly name at these meetings, but we are. We are doing something. We're doing something right now, which is speaking to you, the board members. And from there, it becomes your responsibility to make policy changes in accordance with the views expressed by those who elected you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Brings us to board comments. Mrs. Sheets, would you like to begin?
I had the opportunity to go to Lansing the other day for a legislative summit. Is that better?
Not yet.
I had the opportunity to go to Lansing the other day for a legislative summit. Quite honestly, I do believe that we will take the $300 cut. I don't think that there is going to be any compromise on that. I think they're pretty firm on that. One of the things that they tried to express very clearly was the fact that these reductions, the purpose behind these reductions was not to hurt our children. The purpose would be to encourage or force consolidation, especially of administration. We have 550 school districts in the state of Michigan, which means we employ 550 superintendents, 550 different people in the curriculum department. And what the governor would like to see happen is that districts share those services, therefore putting more money back into the classroom, which is has a greater impact on our students. One of the, I believe the district has already done it, or they are exploring doing it, where they've actually contracted with the local ISD to take over the superintendent's position of their district. So basically, this is to force districts to look at money-saving ways that do not impact our students. But it's coming.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Mr. Herring, please.
I was able to, last week, attend the McCall Technology Conference down held at Cobo Hall. Mr. Washington was down there and many of our other tech teachers. Very interesting, very eye-opening of what's out there, what a lot of districts are doing. Obviously, some of them have all the whistles and bells because they have the finances to have that, and it's kind of mind-boggling. And I do okay on the computer. I'm not real computer savvy, so when I go through this whole sheet of stuff just from one of the presenters, the terminology and all the stuff in there is like, yeah, okay, but it's neat. And I know most of our instructors, this is available to them to use. There's a tremendous amount of information in there that, especially for elementary literacy and math and everything else that comes along. One of the things that several of the presenters actually was saying is it's not so much how much high technology we're trying to put into the classroom. It's we realize what we have at the present moment, and there was a ton of ideas, a lot of breakout sessions and all that, how we use what we actually have and, making use of what we have, because obviously we're a long way behind, but we still do have some technology. We've got some pretty nice labs, and some of our rooms have interactive boards and stuff like that. So I think that was one of the main emphasis on this conference was using what we do have, obviously, and with the ideas as we can get more, and hopefully the bond goes through, which I definitely support. Basically rebuilding the infrastructure of our technical support so that as we purchase technology, we'll be able to use it efficiently. So it was a really neat conference. And going along with what Kathy was saying, there is a big push, and this has been a push for a long time for consolidation of districts. One of the success stories of that is Washtenaw County last year consolidated their buses with all the districts in Washtenaw County. And it was quite a few $1 million that they saved. Each individual district still has their name on their buses. The drivers weren't displaced, although they did consolidate runs and they made it more efficient. But you know, every now and then buzzword comes along, and right now, if you talk to your legislators and the governor and anybody else like that, consolidation is coming, and there will be at some point in time, every county in the state of Michigan will have one superintendent, and that will cover the whole county. That's coming. It is probably within 10 years. That's not unrealistic. I think as a whole, I think what Governor Snyder is doing, although right now it's going to be very painful for us, is he is taking the step, and as he said, we've kicked the can down the road for many, many years, and how many years can we keep kicking the can down the road before everybody runs out of money? And I think it's a realization financially, Michigan will never be what it once was. It'll recover, it'll get better than it is now, but it will not go where it once was. Michigan, money-wise, was very large, overextended, overspent, overindulged, and reality is that's gone and never will come back. And I think what he's doing is he's got the insight of how to start to bring that back into perspective of where we can go with what we have, just like using technology in our district. How good can we use it to the best of our ability with what we have? So anyway, it was great to go to the conference, and it was fun to see all the new stuff, all the whistles and bells and toys, but it's like going to the dealership and looking at all the new cars, you know. It's like, oh well. Drool on them a little bit, and I'm sure most of the keyboards have waterproof covers on them because there was probably a lot of drooling at that conference. But anyway, it was fun, and it was good to go to it and get an understanding of what is out there, what we can do, and some of the insight into some of the people that present the breakout sessions are everyday classroom teachers, and they're absolutely amazing. So anybody that wants to, you just go on to McCall's website. Almost any of that they show or do is all available to us. So it was neat. So
Thank you.
That's all I got.
Thank you very much. Anyone else? Mr. McCall, please.
I just want to take this opportunity to thank the Keewatin PTA for finding every annoying toy and the most sugared up cotton candy as they could find on Friday night for their carnival. My children appreciate it. My wife and I appreciated the activities, but we didn't appreciate the time it took us to get them off the ceiling hours later. But it was a great time, and I just want to say that, again, I'm most familiar with the PTA at Keewatin, but I also know that, especially with the Founders Day coming up, the PTA does do an extensive job that people don't realize how much work goes into everything to put together at each of their schools. And maybe if you get a chance at some point, seek out some of those leaders in the PTA, the parents that donate a lot of time. They probably donate 10 times the amount of time sometimes I donate to the school board. They are always an excellent group, very concerned about the schools, and unsung heroes because most of them do not want recognition. So thanks a lot for the candy, cotton candy, and the toys. The whoopee cushion was very tantalizing, but it was a great night, and do appreciate the work of the PTAs.
Thank you. One final thing, a thank you to the staff and students here at Cleveland Elementary for the media reception prior to. And a lot of work goes, a lot of time, again, additional goes into that, and the extra hard work and volunteerism. So with that, could we get a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
McCullough and Sheets. Mrs. Cadret, the roll, please.
Mr. McCullough?
Yes.
Mrs. Murphy?
Yes.
Mrs. Sheets?
Yes.
Mrs. Damashki?
Yes.
Mr. Herring?
Yes.
Mr. Krewall?
Yes.
Mr. Stout?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you very much. We are adjourned.